Let's get into the Roto World player news. Of course, for all your player news, you can go to rotoworld.com. And we're starting off with the Thursday night football reaction here. Obviously, we had a game last night. Maybe not a thriller between the Eagles and the Browns, but the Eagles' backfield. That's what everybody has their eyes on right now, which was led by Trey Sermon, who had the biggest night, both for good and bad reasons. 5 carries, 54 yards, the touchdown, and the fumble. And then kind of just a giant mix of guys. Not a surprise here, Barry. Not a ton of work for Kenneth Gainwell or Rashad Penny.
Yeah, but honestly, to me, that's the story. Like, you know, the fact that Gainwell and Penny and Scott were both held out, Swift didn't, tells you Gainwell's in the mix to have a real role. The fact that he got just as many carries as Penny, and it was only 2, they each only got 2 carries, sort of tells you, he's going to be a thing. It's going to be a 3-headed monster in Philadelphia in that backfield between Gainwell, Penny, and Swift. They didn't even play DeAndre Swift in this game. But that's what that tells me. You know what I mean? Because, again, Sirianni saying, maybe he won't play. Well, he did play this week. Yep. You know, he tried to poo-poo it, and then he ends up getting the same number of carries as Rashad Penny.
Yeah. Do you know Rashad Penny has the highest yards per carry average in NFL history? He's 5.7 yards per carry. It's just amazing every time he's out there. Now, I think that in terms of, media and expectation, Kenneth Gainwell might head-to-head be more likely to outperform Penny in fantasy this year just because he's more steady. But, would you rather take Gainwell just ahead of Penny in drafts, full stop, or would you rather ride the upside of Penny?
Yeah, no, I think it depends on where you are in your draft and what you're trying to accomplish. I think there's a better chance that Gainwell finishes with more fantasy points than any of those guys because I think he's going to play every game.
But he's got no chance to be a top 15 running back.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. The fact is that Penny or Swift, especially Penny, we've seen Penny, 2 years ago in Seattle, the final 5 or 6 games, he was the best running back in fantasy.
Yep.
Penny has top 5 running back in fantasy upside, as does DeAndre Swift, if they can stay healthy all year and get a decent workload behind one of the best offensive lines in football. The issue is that the workload's uncertain because they like to use multiple running backs. Hurts is always a threat to Vulture. And, of course, they've dealt with injuries throughout their career. So that's the concern. I like Gainwell the most of the 3 just because his ADP is by far the lowest.
Yep.
He's the cheapest of the 3. But I don't mind a dart throw on any of them because they all have significant upside. Gainwell less upside, but for his ADP, certainly you can turn a profit there on Kenneth Gainwell.
Staying with the Eagles offense, Marcus Mariota obviously signed this offseason to be Jalen Hurts' backup after Gardner Minshew had left for the Colts. It's been a tough preseason for Marcus Mariota, coming off a tough season with the Atlanta Falcons. 9 for 17 last night, 86 yards, 3 sacks, an interception. This preseason as a whole, only completed 16 of his 28 dropbacks, pass attempts. He's taken 4 sacks. It's just hard to have a lot of confidence with what's going on in Mariota right now for a team that the Eagles, obviously, they prioritize that backup quarterback spot. And on top of this, Tanner McKee looked pretty good for the Eagles last night.
Yeah, that's the concern, right? Is that Jalen Hurts missed 2 games last year. And because of his physical style and because he runs the ball so much, he's more of a threat to get injured than anyone else. And so because all of us here in the world of fantasy have so much invested in Eagles skills players, that we not just the running backs, obviously, but A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert, that if anything were to happen to Jalen Hurts, last year you had confidence. Gardner Minshew is a professional quarterback. He's been a starter in this league. He's been good. And yes, Marcus Mariota has been a starter in this league, but not for long. He lost the job in Atlanta. He lost the job in Tennessee. Marcus Mariota has just, he couldn't get a job with the Raiders. I'm not trying to pile on the kid, you know what I mean? I feel bad, and maybe this is Peyton Manning's fault. Keep the cameras away from him. He shouldn't have been part of quarterback there. But it is a concern because it's not some of those passes that we just showed you there, if you're listening and you didn't see it, we showed some plays, he's missing guys by 10 yards.
It's not even close.
It's not even just the line broke down or he misread a coverage or something. It's just it's not it's all mental. He's got the baseball equivalent of the yips. I'm sorry, the football equivalent of the baseball yips. You know what I mean? He's just something's going on up there.
Yeah, Zach Wilson-esque, that montage. I think the thing with Minshew is that last year, if Hurts was going to go down, say in the playoffs, and this is more of a real-life football and fantasy thing, but the Eagles still could have won the Super Bowl with Gardner Minshew because everything else around him was so good and he's competent enough. I mean, Mariota has to be better than what he's shown so far. I don't think it's going to be the Tanner McKee show. Mariota's going to get first crack, and Mariota can provide value with his legs, but yeah, he needs to throw the ball within 10 yards of people.
All right, so we'll be on watch.
But it's a concern. Losing Gardner Minshew, I think, was a loss, right? Yep. And I mean, like it just. Last year, I think what the number is, and someone get in my ear and correct me if I have this number wrong, but I believe the number was last year something like 65 different quarterbacks started a game or appeared in a game last year for NFL teams. Like it was an NFL record. I mean, you know what I mean? Like in terms of both the injuries and coming in the middle of games, and so it just like the NFL is a newsflash, but the NFL is a tough game, and so it is a little bit of a concern. It's a little bit of a concern.
64 was the number.
64.
That's all right. You'll be better next time, Matthew.
Yeah, thank you very much. And by the way, maybe not. Maybe I won't be better. It's Friday.
One last note in this game, Austin Watkins Jr.
It's a Friday. It's still summer. Like, come on, let's.
We're warming up.
Yeah,
shaking the rust
whatever.
off.
Whatever.
You made it to the
Mariota. I got some Mariota-like plays in me still. Yeah, yeah. Please, they're not going to be winners. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.